everyone, it's your girl Bebe Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, Bebe Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Get ready for this.
Good afternoon and hi everyone and welcome to my show, Bebe Means Business. And for those of you who are joining me for the first time, I'm your host, Bebe Clement, and this is the show where we talk about anything and everything to do with business. All the questions you ever wanted to ask, how to start it, how to grow it, how to avoid the pitfalls, where to find your customers, and more importantly, how to use it as a source of creating enduring wealth that you can pass down to your children and your children's children. I'm so glad that you were able to join me once again. That means you're alive, you're safe, and you're well. And that's great to hear. That's what we want to continue hearing. Just to let you know a little bit about me, I'm also the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur. And the topic today is going to revolve a little bit around that, but I'll speak about that in a minute. And I run a group of successful small companies. If you want to hook up with me, as many of you do, if you want to hook up with me on Twitter, my Twitter handle is @Bebe Clement. That's @Bebe Clement. And my Instagram is Bebe_Clement. That's Bebe_Clement. And if you're more into LinkedIn, you just type in my name, I'll definitely come up. Same thing on Facebook. But please hook up with me. I always putting tips out there that will help you on your entrepreneurial journey and indeed your life's journey as well. Now, last week we had a repeat program, and we do that once in a while, where there's a particular program that viewers say was really informative or really useful for them, then we repeat it. But the week before was a live show. And the live show, we talked about business trends for 2021. Business trends for 2021. The things that you need to be aware of by way of business trends and the things that you need to prepare for in relation to those trends. So I just want to quickly recap on some of those trends because some people had asked me, some of the people who had missed the show. By the way, if you do miss the show, if you go to my YouTube channel, just type in Bebe Clement, all the shows will come up on there, so please go and view, so you can have an opportunity to listen to it at your leisure. I know some people share it with their groups. They have business groups, they have networking groups, and I understand that some people share these shows with those groups, and I'd encourage you to do the same. Lots of very, very useful information. Somebody actually said to me, she said, Bebe, if I had to pay for the kind of information that you give us on this show, I know how much it would cost me. It would cost me thousands. So, don't waste this opportunity. Make sure that you go to YouTube, go to my channel, and like and comment, and of course subscribe as well, and let others know that those podcasts and repeat shows are available on YouTube. Okay, so just to recap about some of the trends that you need to be aware of and you need to be preparing your business for 2021. So one of the trends that we saw in 2020 that is definitely going to, is going to get even greater in 2021 and beyond was the introduction of working from home. Working from home became commonplace, as you well know, and is still ongoing. But what does that mean for your workforce? If you're an employer, what does that mean for your workforce? Is it working for you? We looked at that. Is it working for you? Is it working for your employees? And as an employer, most importantly, how do you keep your staff engaged? How do you keep them connected? How do you keep them engaged? How do you keep them motivated? These are things that you have to look at in relation to working from home as that becomes more and more the new normal in the workplace. Then we looked at the power of data, and this is something that's really important, really, really important. That data is going to become increasingly more important in the workplace. And some of the things that you need to be aware of in relation to data, first of all, you have to become strategic in the way in which you are collecting or capturing data. You've got to become strategic. It can't just be a willy-nilly thing that you do. Your company must become strategic in collecting data. Then once that data is collected, what do you do with it? What do you do with it? How do you analyze it? You must introduce systems into your business in which you can analyze the data that you collect. Then you and your staff are going to have to become data literate. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean is that data is coming at us all the time in our business. It's coming at us all the time. But oftentimes companies don't use that data because they can't understand the message. They can't interpret the message that data is giving them. And if you can't interpret the message, it's as good as you not having that data at all. So you must become data literate. What is this data telling us? So let's say to connect with you on your website, clients have to fill out a form, a contact form. All right, now when you get that information, what is that information telling you? Is it telling you that the majority of the clients that connect with you are female? And if so, are you rendering your products in such a way that make them female friendly? So these are the kind of things that are going to become even more important in this year. The whole concept of data. So don't overlook that. Don't overlook that. Really get involved in the data that you're receiving. And then when you interpret that data, what do you do with it? The whole point of you interpreting the data is so that it informs you. And if it informs you, whatever message it's telling you, you have to adapt your practices and your procedures, your company, your business procedures, to the data that you are receiving. So let's say you've always felt that your company caters for people from every kind of culture and every kind of background. But you discover from the data that you receive that actually 90% of your clients are black. Then that would inform how you then market and who you market to, where you position yourself market-wise. That will then inform you. So that again will make you adapt your practices and your procedures and how you reach out to your potential clients. So those are the kind of things. We also looked at the how finance is going to be raised in 2021 and beyond. And we said that we're moving away from traditional means of raising finance. We're moving away from like banks and financial institutions, places like that, and more unconventional ways of raising finance are going to become the norm, increasingly become the norm. So you're looking at angel investors, you're looking at crowdfunding, you're looking at groups putting their finances together, you're looking at investment groups, things like that. These are ways in which, these are trends in which finance is going to be raised more and more in 2021 and beyond. So you need to be looking at that. And then increasingly there will be more collaboration, a lot more collaboration, a lot more partnership. And you've got to be aware of that. So the day of the lone wolf, that's gone. So you need to be looking at other ways in which you can collaborate and partners. So networking events, of course, because we're stuck at home, online networking events. You need to be joining things like mastermind groups, investment groups, those kind of things. These are the things that you're going to have to be looking at. Also, things like ABSs are going to become even more the norm, alternative business structures. So let's say, for instance, you are a law firm or you're an accountancy firm. Let's say you're an accountancy firm and you've always ever just wanted to be an accountancy firm. Now would be the time to start looking at, okay, actually, is that serving us the way we want it to serve us? Or should we hook up with a law firm, because we have similar clients, should we hook up with a law firm and create another structure, another business structure, so that we can reach a greater amount of clients? So these are things that you need to be aware of. These are the trends, the kind of trends that we're seeing or we're going to see in 2021 and beyond that you need to be aware of. Okay, so that was just a recap, and now I want to get into what we're going to talk about today. Today we're looking at develop different income streams now. I'm getting really bossy with this. Develop different income streams now without leaving your day job. And I'm saying this with a sense of imperativeness. I'm saying this with a sense of urgency because I think things are going to get worse before they get better. I think they're going to get worse before they get better. Particularly for those of us who are in the West, those of you who still have jobs, the majority of you still have jobs because the government is still propping up the business space, propping up small businesses in particular. But they can't keep doing that. That's not going to end. That's not going to continue ad infinitum. It's not. And the furlough scheme is going to end, except they review, but it's planned to end in March at the moment. Once that furlough scheme ends, sadly, a lot of people are going to lose their jobs because really, if this pandemic continues, the majority of businesses cannot afford to keep their staff. So you as an employee, you need to be doing something about that. That should be sending alarm bells through your head, and you need to be doing something about that. Now, you might be thinking, well, actually, I don't think I should panic. After all, they found a vaccine now. And yes, it might take a little while for everybody to get vaccinated, but after a little while, everything will get back to normal. I really wish I could join you in your enthusiasm, but sadly I can't. I actually don't think that will be the case. I was listening to Bill Gates, who, as we know, has been very vocal, has been a leading and resounding voice in relation to the whole pandemic, and he was saying that it will be at least 2022 before things resume to any sense of normality. And I think he's right. And more importantly, it is unlikely that normality will look like what it was before the pandemic. The bottom line is we're in the throes of unprecedented change and an upheaval. And the workplace is one of the casualties of that upheaval. So it is important that you don't wait until you are pushed before you do something. Don't wait until you are without a job before you do something. So that's the reason why I've named this topic, develop different income streams now without leaving your day job. There are things that you can do while you are still working for somebody else that can begin to create your own wealth. And so please hear the clarion call, ladies and gentlemen, hear the cry. Because it's important that you do this. I need to ask you a question, just to help you get the seriousness of what I'm saying. I need to ask you a question. If you lost your job today, how long could you go with the amount of money that you have saved? How long could you go? I really want you to answer that question for yourself. How long could you go? Some people couldn't go more than 6 months. And those are one of the lucky ones. A lot of people couldn't go 3 months. With the amount of money they have saved or the amount of assets they have. They could not go 3 months without a salary. So it's important that you begin to develop different income streams now. But even if your job is not under threat, the bottom line is, even if things come back to normal tomorrow, one thing is very clear. We can no longer be dependent on a single source of income because being dependent on a salary makes you vulnerable. It makes you vulnerable and open to exploitation by your employer. Last week, the managing director of Pimlico Plumbers, which is a popular company in the UK, Pimlico Plumbers, he announced that he was going to make it compulsory for all his staff to receive the vaccine. And those that refuse to receive the vaccine, he would be putting them on new contracts. Now, I'm not debating the merits or otherwise of receiving the vaccine. If you want to get it, that's great. If you have reservations about it, that's entirely your prerogative. But what I'm saying is this, is that if an employer can say to you, I want you to do A, B, and C, whether it is receiving a vaccine or whatever else it is, and if you don't do it, I'm going to make you pay. I'm going to put you on a new contract. And of course, when an employer tells you they're going to put you on a new contract, they're talking about they're going to remove certain employment rights from you. There's no way it's going to be a more favorable contract. Of course, it's going to be a contract that is detrimental to you. So if you are in a position where you you cannot survive without your salary, you may find yourself in the future having to compromise your ethics, having to compromise your beliefs for a paycheck. So it's important that you don't put yourself in that position. So if an employer says something like that to you and you have other income streams that you can survive on, then you can tell him to stuff his job because you have other income streams. You're not held to ransom because of a paycheck. Okay. Also, another reason why this is really important, and I'm on purpose looking at the reasons why you should do this, because I think when people understand the why behind something that you're asking them to do, then they're more likely to do it properly. But another reason why you should develop different income streams now is because the average millionaire, who we all want to be, the average millionaire has at any given time about 7 different sources of income. About 7 different sources of income. So how you and I think that we're going to be able to survive on one is just beyond me. I was reading about Bill Gates the other day, and they were saying that Bill Gates is now the largest owner of farmland in America. Now, we thought that he was only in the IT space, in the computer and technology space. That's what most people know Bill Gates for. But now, in recent times, we're beginning to see that this man has got his fingers in so many pies. He has large shares in the 2 top companies that are producing the vaccine, Moderna and Pfizer. He's now the largest owner of farmlands in America. He has Microsoft. He has his finger in so many other things. This is what rich people do. They diversify their portfolio. So if, for instance, one dries up for any reason, they don't go bankrupt. They have another source of income, and that is what we must do as well. Okay? So you must develop different income streams. I'm going to go to a break in a minute, but before I do that, I just want to give other reasons why you must go into different income streams. And I'm doing this because I'd like to help educate you. The good book says that my people die or they perish for a lack of knowledge. It is what we don't know about money and finance and investing and producing wealth that is keeping us poor, that is keeping us limited, that is keeping us from fulfilling our financial potential. And if you don't understand how the system in which you are operating works, it is unlikely that you're going to be wealthy. So I just want to quickly, I may have done this before, but there's no reason why we can't remind ourselves about this. I just want to quickly let you know or educate you a little bit as to how the system works so that you can see for yourself. You don't need to be convinced by me. You can see for yourself that actually enough is enough. I have got to do something about my financial situation. So, as you know, most economies are capitalist now. Most economies are capitalist. And I just want to show you a little bit about how a capitalist society works. Now, in a capitalist society, there are 3 main groups of people. There are producers, there are distributors, and there are consumers. And I want to quickly go through the 3 of them. And if you can, write this down because it will really help you. It will really help you. Now, the first group, like I said, are producers. Now, what is a producer? Let me bust a myth. A lot of people think that they're producers because they own a business. That's not necessarily what a producer is. Producers are people who create or make something that adds sufficient value to someone's life such that they're willing to pay for it. That's what a producer is. Not necessarily somebody who has a business. The fact that and the reason why I say that is because many of us have a business or we're in business because we have something to sell, not because somebody wants to buy it. So a producer is somebody who creates sufficient value either through a service or a product that is valued so much so by a customer or a client that they're willing to pay for it. Now, I am a producer. What do I produce? I produce information and knowledge that people need in relation to business and entrepreneurship that helps lead them to financial freedom, so much so that they're willing to pay for it. So, for instance, on the 20th of February, 2021, I'm going to be having a webinar called How how to build your own wealth. How to build your own wealth. Now, because that adds value to people's lives, people are willing to pay for it. It's £99. I'm going to have the details on the show for next week. But people are willing to pay for it because it adds value to their life. It gets them out of the rat race. It gets them out of the financial rut that they're in so that they're able to progress financially and become financially free. So that is a producer, okay? A distributor differs from a producer. Because a distributor doesn't make anything, doesn't create anything. What a distributor does is they bring supply and demand together. All right. So, for instance, let's say you are somebody who you're based in the UK and you import African food for the African diaspora in the UK. All right. So you're not creating beans or rice or plantain. You don't produce that. You don't create that. All you do is you bring the supply and the demand together. You bring it in from Africa or wherever for the African diaspora. That's a distributor. And of course, people have to eat, so they're going to buy it. That's a distributor. I am a distributor. What do I distribute? The same thing that I produce: knowledge and information and experience. And I package it in such a way that people are willing to pay for it, which is pretty much what I'm doing now. I'm bringing the supply and the demand together. All right? You are the demand. The viewers of this radio show are the demand. The information that I'm giving you is the supply. And so that is what a distributor does. Now, the third group of people we're all in that group, basically. We're consumers. And there's nothing wrong with being a consumer because we all have to eat and we all have to wear clothes and we all have to live somewhere. There's nothing wrong in being a consumer. But this is the most important bit that you need to get out of this. If you are going to do well financially, you must be actively found in at least two of the categories that I've just spoken about. You must be found in at least two. Otherwise, you will become a financial casualty. So you must be producing something or you must be distributing something. It is not enough for you to be dependent on a single source of income. Because if you do that and you consume, there is nothing to replace the consumption that you have made. A salary won't do it. Because of inflation, a salary will not let you do it. So you must have different income streams. Now, you don't have to agree with that, of course, and that's fine. I'd love to hear your view. If you have a differing view on that, I'd love to hear it. And when we come back from the break, I'd like to hear the views. And of course, if you have any questions for me, please put them. If you're on Facebook, just put them in the chat or wherever, and then I will answer any questions that you have in relation to that. Now, I read something interesting the other day, and I really wanted to share this. And again, I'd like your views on this. And it said, in a capitalist society, after beggars, the next group of poor people are employees. I'm going to say that again, actually. I thought that was quite profound. That in a capitalist society, after beggars, the next group of poor people are employees. Do you agree with that quote? If you do, or if you don't, let me know. I'd love to hear your views after the break. But I was thinking about that. I found that kind of hard hitting. And I was thinking about that. And then I looked at the number of people I know who get to 65 and have very little, particularly in my generation. Because, okay, the generation before me, the whole concept was different because we were in the industrial age. And in the industrial age, most people had a job for life. And at the end of that job for life, they had a handsome pension, or enough of a pension to have a decent life. But all that is going and will continue to be eroded, if not totally eradicated. So people of my generation, by the time they hit 60, 65, in the main, have very, very little to retire on. And by then, oftentimes, it's too late. So to ensure that that doesn't happen, it is important that you begin to develop different income streams now. Okay, so just to let you know that this is a live show. And we repeat this show now. We repeat this show on Thursday evenings. And my producer will put on on the chat or on the bottom of the screen the details of the show for Thursday, so that if you missed today, you can catch it again on Thursday, or if it's just not convenient for you to be tuning in on Tuesday, you can catch it again on Thursday. But also to let you know that we are live, and this is an interactive program. Like I said, I want to hear your view on anything I've said, in particular that one about whether employees are the next set of group of poor people after beggars. But if you do want to hook up with me, you need to go to Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @Starr Radio UK, @Starr Radio UK, or you can text or WhatsApp us on 07539 661 744. That number again, 07539 661 744, or indeed email us at info@Starr Radio UK, or join us at Facebook at Starr Radio UK. All right, I'm going to take a break in a minute, and when I come back, I'll have some answers to any questions that you have, and then we'll be looking at, now that we've discussed why you need to develop different income streams now, we'll be looking at what kind of things that you can invest in, what kind of income streams can you begin to look at and develop while you are still working. You don't have to leave your job, ladies and gentlemen, to develop an income stream. All right, I'll be with you right after the break. You in a moment.
Hi everyone, it's your girl Bebe Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, Bebe Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Get ready for this.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. For those of you who are joining us now, this is Bebe Clement, and you are tuned into Bebe Means Business. And today we are looking at how to develop different income streams now. You must do it now. You can't wait. You can't wait. Playtime is over. Things have got real serious. You must begin to develop different income streams now. All right. So let's look at some of the things that you can do by way of that development. Okay, so the first thing that you can do is you can start a small business. And of course, you all are very, very passionate about that. You must start a small business. Why is this a good source of income? In America, there was some research done, and they were able to find that less than 20% of the American workforce own their own business. Those that do make up of over 2/3 of the millionaires. I'm going to say that again because that's quite important. In America, less than 20% of the workforce own their own business. But those that do make up over 2/3 of the millionaires. So what does that mean? It means that there is direct correlation or link between setting up a small business and becoming wealthy or wealth creation directly. And it doesn't have to be a big corporation. This is the mistake people think. People think that it's not a big business, you're not making much money. That's not true. There are $1-million businesses being run from people's kitchen table. So that's not true at all. It doesn't have to be a large business. Now, you might be asking, okay, but I'm still working. How am I going to do that? Well, here's the thing. The fact that we're at home at the moment, don't take this time for granted. Make sure you take great advantage of this time that you are at home. Now, I'm not saying don't work while you're at home. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that this is a great opportunity for you to actually get a business off the ground. Great opportunity, because now you actually have some time. And it is time that has stopped many of us from pursuing our financial dreams. So there are different things that you can do. First of all, you can have an online business. There are people making money from selling things on eBay, selling things on Amazon. A friend of mine has an online business where she lives in a different country from where that business is stationed. And people just sign up for the service that she offers. They do everything online. They register online, they pay online, they get the information online, they get the products. Everything is done online. So she doesn't even have to be in the same country as that particular business. So there are lots of online businesses that you can go into, lots of network marketing businesses that you can go into. Have a look at them. Not all of them may be for you, but look at what suits you. But there is no excuse. There is no excuse now. You can start a small business and you can run it alongside your full-time job or your day job. One tip is to look at something that you're passionate about. I have a client who is passionate about bulldogs. So he breeds prize-winning bulldogs, and he makes so much money from this. It is unreal. I had no idea that bulldog puppies were that expensive. I could not believe it when he told me how much they cost. So just look at things that you are passionate about and look for how you can turn them into a business. Okay, the next one I'm going to talk about is something that is greatly overlooked, but a great source of creating wealth: your gift or your talents. Learn to monetize your gifts. Listen, you haven't even begun to scratch the surface of your talents. I don't care what you're doing. You haven't begun to scratch the surface. What you need to do, oh yeah, somebody said, can you please define talent? Oh, okay. Your talent is anything that you know how to do with the least amount of effort. Something that comes to you naturally. It's God-given, so it works with you naturally. That somebody else would find difficult to do. But you make it look easy. You make it look good. So it could be anything. It could be singing. It could be writing songs. It could be cooking. It could be learning how to mix drinks. You know, I read about a guy who, that's all he does. He mixes drinks at high-class parties, people who are wealthy. He mixes cocktails. That's all he does. And he gets paid ridiculous amounts of money to do that. So it could be anything. So one of the tips that I would give you is sit down, take some time out, sit on your own, and write down everything that you know that you are good at. Or sometimes we're good at something, but we've talked ourselves out of it. We've talked ourselves out of thinking that we are actually good at that. So anything that anybody has ever said to you, Carol, you know, you're so good at this. I really wish you would do more of it. Anything anybody has ever told you that you're good at, write it down. Write it down. And then learn how to monetize it. Learn how to make money from it. Now, you might need to hire somebody. You might need to hire, for instance, like a business consultant or somebody like me to show you how to do that. But that is money well spent. Now, you don't have to leave your job to do that. You don't have to leave your job to do that. So look at your gifts or your talents and learn how to monetize them and start a business that way. Then, of course, you can invest. You can invest. Because some of us, our problem is not the income stream. Some of us actually have money sitting in the bank, rotting in the bank, by the way, because I don't know what your interest rate is. I think mine is at the moment 0.03 or something like that. But it's rubbish, basically. I personally think that banks are a good place to put your money for safekeeping, but that's about it. That's about it. I really don't get anything else out of my bank. So if you have a little bit of money, and you don't need a lot of money, if you have a little bit of money, start looking for where you can put that money to work, because that's what the rich do. This is the difference between people who are wealthy and employees. Their mindset is different. Employees work hard for their money. Rich people don't do that. Rich people make their money work hard for them. And that's what you need to start to do. Invest your money in schemes and put it in places that will put it to work, that will make it produce more money. So I'll just give you some things that you can invest in. One, invest in other people's business. Do you know that some businesses would not get off the ground because of like £1,000, £5,000? That's all it is. The difference between success and failure for some entrepreneurs is £1,000, £5,000. And many of us have £5,000 sitting in the bank account doing nothing. Look for people who are starting up and need financial assistance. Of course, make sure it's a good business and just give somebody your hard-earned money. But invest in other people's business ideas and let them make money for you. So you could invest by way of a loan, or you could invest by way of having a part of the company. So you could say, okay, I'm willing to lend you £5,000, but I want 10% of the profits, or I want to own 20%. I want a share of the company. So these are ways in which you can put your money to work. Also, for existing businesses, cash flow is becoming a problem because of the whole coronavirus thing. Cash flow is becoming a problem. And the fact that somebody is having cash flow problems does not mean that it's not a viable business. That it doesn't mean that at all. So don't think, oh, if my friend comes to me and they've been running the business for 10 years and they come to me and tell me they need £5,000 and it can't be a very good business. That's not true. Oftentimes, cash dries up. It doesn't mean that the business is not viable. So don't let that be a barrier to you lending somebody money because you think if they're having cash flow problems then it can't be a very good business, because that's not true. So even existing businesses will need cash flow assistance. Look for those who do. And if you have some money that you can invest in that business. Let them know that you want a percentage, you want an interest rate on your investment. So that's one thing that you can do. You can invest in stocks and shares. Stocks are just a generic term for shares. You can invest in shares. You can visit some share sites. Now, I discovered that a lot of people want to invest in shares, but they don't know how to go about it, which I found interesting. And the reason why I found that interesting, because I was in that boat a few years ago. I didn't know how to do it. I remember actually ringing my bank and saying, I want to buy some shares. And even the customer service person didn't know where to send me to. She didn't know where to signpost me to. So look online for companies that can help you. The one that I use, and I have no affiliation to this company whatsoever. They're not paying me to say this. I'm only sharing this because it's the one that I use, is Hargreaves Lansdowne. And I use them because I think they're good. They've given me good service so far. So you could contact them, hl.com, and tell them that you want to invest in stocks and shares and ask for some advice on how to do that. Okay. Then you can invest in the new kid on the block, or the flavor of the month or the moment is cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is definitely worth a look. Now, one of the reasons why cryptocurrency is worth a look is because I think it is a great example of a new industry with low startup cost. And that is what you need to be looking at. Look, this is not the time to start a business that needs 100,000, 200,000 to get off the ground. Ain't nobody got any money for that or time for that. Look for an industry. Put your money in an industry that requires very low startup cost. And cryptocurrency is definitely something that I would encourage you to look at. For those of you who don't know, it is currently growing in such a way that is defies belief. I think cryptocurrency is the new .com bubble that we had. For those of you who are old enough to remember, in the early 2000s, when nobody understood the internet, nobody knew how it worked, nobody knew how it was going to make money. But some people took the risk and invested in it. And became very, very rich very, very quickly. You remember the people like lastminute.com? You remember them? Who became millionaires literally overnight because they took the risk of entering into an industry or into something that we didn't know anything about. We didn't understand how it worked. It was shrouded in mystery. There was a lot of ignorance. Those kind of things are brilliant for making money. Brilliant for making money because you can make a quick buck and exit that market before everybody else wakes up. So definitely have a look at cryptocurrency. It's worth a look. Then of course there's property. Now, what often stops people from investing in property is the high startup cost. It's going to cost me about 200,000, 150,000 to buy a property. Not anymore. There are now investment groups, investment clubs that where you can pool resources together with other people. So rather than put 250,000 down, you can pool resources with other people, maybe 15,000, 10,000, that kind of thing with other people, and buy properties, flip them, take your money out, or keep them for a long term, that kind of thing. But there are investment groups. One investment group that I definitely would encourage you to look at is one that is run by a lady that I had on the show a few weeks ago, Bimbola Osagie. She has a property investment group, very good one. I would encourage you to have a look at that and see if it's something that would be worth your while investing in. Then, of course, there's intellectual property. There's intellectual property is everything to do with ideas and your imagination. So underutilized. You'll be shocked the number of ideas that you can come up with. Actually, I would encourage you to do this every day, every single day for the next 7 days until we meet again. Take 15 minutes out of your day. Find a quiet place in your house or go somewhere, I don't know, sit in the park or something, whatever it is you can do. And just write down every idea that comes to mind that you can turn into a business. Even if it sounds stupid to you, every idea you can think of, just write it down. If you know the number of people who became wealthy from a stupid idea, you'd be amazed. So no matter what it is, just write it down. Write it down. And then as time goes on, you can begin to eliminate the ones that are just not going to fly. But then you have come up with a few that actually they have merit. Actually, they have potential. And by the time you share them with other people or share them with business advisors and business mentors, that kind of thing, they will be able to help you formulate and how to turn that idea into something that can create wealth. Now, these are all things that you can invest your money in, and you don't have to leave your day job in order to do that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm going to end it there. Yes, just to let you know, I'm really excited about next week. Next week we have a lady on the show, Sandra Ramsey Nicole. She's going to be talking to us about cryptocurrency, in particular Bitcoin. For those of you who are wondering, what the heck is this? I keep hearing about it. What is it? How do I profit from it? How do I get into it? What do I need? How do I buy it? That kind of thing. I would strongly encourage you to join me next week, same time, 1:30 on Tuesday afternoon. So I'm really excited she's going to be here. Tell your friends, tell your family. If you've got young adults in the house, let them tune in. Look, ladies and gentlemen, we've got to make sure that history doesn't repeat itself. We've got to educate our young people so that they can become financially wealthy a lot sooner than we did. So that they don't have to be going to look for a job. They can become job creators rather than job seekers. So this time next week, I'm looking forward to meeting you here again, and we're going to be looking at cryptocurrency. Where did it come from? What does it do? How do I use it? You'll find all that out and more this time next week. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me once again. I'm so appreciative of you using your time in supporting the show. I know you're getting a lot out of it. Keep the feedback coming. I'll be reading off some of your comments next week. Stay safe, stay well, stay in if you can, and I will see you next week. And don't forget, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Hi everyone, it's your girl Bebe Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, Bebe Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.